What is going on, everyone, and welcome in to another episode of Expected Bets for your go-to podcast for all things hockey betting. Got both my co-hosts with me today. Guys, we're on a little bit of a heater right now. We got full show twice this week, so good for us. Happy Friday, everyone. Congrats. Made it to the weekend.
We are.
There we go.
That doesn't look like Coors Light.
No, it's Alpine, straight from San Diego.
Oh, yeah. I like Alpine. That's a good one.
They're good.
Okay.
You're turning into a city slicker, Betsky.
Yeah, I know.
It's
no.
You went to California and
you're
drinking
Cali
IPAs.
Betsky.
What the hell is going on here?
IPAs, hazy IPAs, delicious stuff. No, funny enough, I actually used to work at like a craft beer bar in like 2010 because I'm old, and just got to have like killer beers all the time. We had like the owner of Bell's, come by and bring like specialty kegs and all this cool stuff, and loved all the craft stuff for years and years, and then just kind of went back to Coors.
Then you got old, and then you felt the hangover of craft beer.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I know that.
It's not even the hangover. I mean, I'll get the hangover from anything at this point. It's more just like the dumbness of a couple IPAs, like just straight up can't use a phone anymore after 3, and I'm too old for that now. Yes, Dave, we got head cheese. Boys are back. Don't forget promo code ExpectedBets4 at Boar's Head for 50% off your next pound of head cheese.
Yeah, we're gonna have to reach out to Boar's Head. We're gonna have to reach out to Boar's Head. I think we can really bring them some business.
I was gonna say the number one head cheese podcast.
Yeah.
Instead of hockey betting, it's just head cheese talk 24/7.
Yeah, over and under how
deli
much
meat.
you eat. Yep.
Oh God. Yeah. How many pounds is this brick? All right. 3 games today. Let's jump into the first one. Toronto at New York. New York plus 102. Toronto minus 122. Total set at 6.5 here, plus 110 to the over. I personally don't have anything in this game on the books right now. I have one that I want to discuss with you guys, but Franco, I believe you have a play in this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's unacceptable on a 3-game slate that you don't have a play on this game. You should just
that's the no. We're not. No. I'm bringing a play to the show that I want to talk out. It's not. Okay. It's not that I don't have a play. It's we need to figure out where I want to go.
You don't have a play yet.
Yes.
So for myself, for this game, the first thing I'd circle was Leafs money line. What's up, NZ? It was minus 120 today. I grabbed it at minus 120 earlier. It looks like it's moved down to minus 118. I don't really get that. I get that. I understand that Tanev is going to be out for the Leafs. Nylander is questionable last I saw. I'm assuming he's probably going to miss this game with a hand, wrist, lower body, whatever the hell you want to call it in this league that we have here. But still, you're missing Fox. Miller's banged up. He might play both Millers, JT and Keandre. So I think the loss of Fox is going to be felt pretty strongly. I get that he had a bad 4 Nations, and everybody's talking about whether he's a good defenseman or not, and all that fun nonsense that circles around anything that happens in the Twitterverse. There's no like in between. It's either he's like a great defenseman or he's shit. But for the Rangers, he's their play driver. He's their Quinn Hughes, so to speak. And I feel like the offense is gonna suffer without him. I mean, they don't have really like a like for like replacement for him. So the Leafs are a tough team. I get it that they're home. The Rangers are home in this game, but I think we're getting a deal on the Leafs money line here tonight.
Yeah, I certainly lean Leafs money line. Any plays on the total? 6.5 seems a little high for this game too, based on what you're saying of the Rangers offense isn't necessarily going to function as they normally do, but they haven't really been great in the last few games either. So, well, that's not true. They had 5 back-to-back games. So I don't know. Any thoughts on the total?
Well, it's funny
Yeah.
that the Leafs offense has been coming from like the other guys.
Yeah.
Since the break. I mean, Dave's joking about will Austin Matthews score again. I mean, he I don't know, man. Like I watched a good amount of that Bruins game. The Leafs offense in general looked like they were lost for a nice chunk of it, and then they kind of woke up. But yeah, I mean, it feels like it's the other guys, which is bodes well for their playoffs and future for the season. That they can actually get some depth scoring. But it's just funny seeing Pontus Holmberg and Nick Robertson being the guys burying pucks as opposed to Matthews, Nylander, Tavares. So, I think it's a good thing for this team though in the long run. Let's put it that way. I think they can put up some goals tonight. I don't. The Rangers, I think they had 2 straight games where they only allowed 1 goal, but it was against the Islanders and somebody else bad. I can't remember.
1 and 3 allowed 3 against the Pens and 1 against the Isles.
Oh, okay. So yeah, not that great. So I mean, come on. Like I don't think this. I feel like the books are respecting those 2 performances too much and ignoring the first game off the break where they got smacked. So yeah, against the Sabres.
Yeah, I mean, we called that. We said it was the prime spot for a shit kicking, and it certainly was. So credit to you on that one. Betsky, any looks for you in Toronto, New York?
Yeah, I think there's one that really kind of stands out for me because I'm kind of digging around trying to feel out, the big names like Matthews and Nylander. But let's not forget, John Tavares used to be a Long Island boy, and he likes to show up against the Rangers. They say you can take the man out of Long Island, but you can't take the Long Island out of the man.
I've heard that before.
Yes. Yeah. So 7 out of his last 9 games, he's hit his 2.5 shot attempt or shots on goal prop, averaging 7 shot attempts in those games. This includes 11 shot attempt performances in the 23-24 season. If Nylander is a little banged up, like we saw, I think it was Dave mentioned in the comment section with his wrists, he may be deferring a little bit more to Tavares here. If the top line is just not really shooting on all cylinders, maybe we see a little bit more of Tavares picking up the slack. He did have 3 shots on goal off 8 attempts against Boston and had 5 attempts in that first game back from the break against Chicago, and then did hit his 3 shots on goal against Carolina. So 2 out of 3 games since he has returned from the break, gets a team he loves to throw puck against. Getting really good value is pretty much like plus 100 right now. So I don't know. Yeah, game's a little funky. That's kind of one of those angles that look pretty nice, though. And then, as my dog Brandon has mentioned, McMahon's always kind of there. Maybe a nice 1.5 option.
Yeah, I wanted to just touch on Nylander too. So Nylander's gone under this 2.5 in each of his last 5 games. And I think the biggest thing is you've seen his attempts drop drastically during that span as well. Even his play style too of he has no goals in those last 5 games, but he has 3 assists. So like you were saying before, going more towards that playmaking role, opening up that shot spot for Tavares. So I do like the Tavares look as well. But yeah, I would lean Nylander under 2.5. I don't see how he gets that tonight, especially if he's hurt and kind of the way he's been playing lately. So you had mentioned McMahon as well.
Yeah, I just took a peek. 6 out of his last 10. His last 2 games, he's really dropped off on the attempts, though. Much better at home than away, but man, he's 72% on the season, and he's coming off 2 duds of games. I don't know if he's ever missed more than 2
of his.
Yeah,
he's hitting 15 of his last 20 road games.
Yeah. I mean, is Nylander going to play for sure though? Like he didn't come on the ice at all during overtime in that last game. Like I was searching while we were talking. I don't see anything about either Miller or Nylander. I mean, we're an hour away from game time, but
yeah, usually Daily Faceoff has like a little symbol if they're like a game time decision though, and I don't see anything. But yeah, I mean, there's always that chance that he doesn't suit up and McMahon's on that second line. You know?
I mean, that's what I'm saying. You just be aware, guys. Like if something breaks, or even like while we're recording this right now, like hop on if any of these guys are out, there's going to be some spots to take advantage.
Yeah.
Thoughts on a Matthews Marner point stack?
I mean, you can never really go wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, Matthews hasn't been hitting his 1.5 line, but he has been at least getting a point. I want to say in this. So yeah, I don't hate that at all. The one look I had was Keandre Miller over 1.5 shots on goal. Betsky, do you have his numbers without Fox in the lineup?
I can find those.
Okay, because the only
right thank you, Brad. Right,
so
cash, by the way.
Toronto in their last 10 ranks third for shots on goal to defensemen. So I'm curious to see how his numbers stack up when Fox out.
So last 10, he's hit in 4 of his last 5. But if you go to last 10, it's 4 out of 10. So his last 5 looks good. 4 of his last 5 with 2, 3, 1, 2, 2. Shot attempts pick up a little bit as well. Over that 5, let's just put it to 5 just to make it look a little nicer for you there. 3.8 attempts averaged over those 5 games with no Fox.
Yeah, he's at 2 line minus 105 on DraftKings. The only concern, I guess, now is those numbers aren't really necessarily great. We're trying to necessarily find a time range that fits the narrative, but he's also kind of hurt as well. So you don't really know if he's going to play the full game. He only played 10 minutes in that last matchup, so probably going to stay off that.
Yeah.
That was the only other thing I had in this one. So it looks like I am going no plays, Franco. You're right. And,
damn it.
I can pitch you on Tavares?
Yeah.
All right.
Tavares, yeah.
I think you can
don't
definitely look at
pick up your tab
some Leaf shots. I think I definitely wouldn't mind looking at some Leaf shots. Let's put it that way. It's just hard to choose. So maybe I'll look at Tavares.
Yeah. All right.
That history is good, man.
Dave with the under looks. But
yeah.
Laugh. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, listen, under 1.5. Like I said, I may be back on that after that Elias Pettersson bet the other night too of his under 1.5.
The only problem with Laugh is I thought I saw that he was skating again with Panarin. If that's the case, that gives me a little bit of pause because we know Panarin's a playmaker. So just, I don't know. Well, I would look at lines.
Yeah.
All right. Any other plays?
Let's get to the good games.
Yep. LA at Dallas. Dallas minus 130. LA plus 110. Total set at 5.5. Minus 115 to the under. I do have a play in this one, but Betsky, we'll start with you. Any looks for you in LA, Dallas?
I want to marry this prop. I have proposed. I'm waiting
Mary fuck kill Tavares, this prop, and something in Minnesota, Colorado.
Yeah. We'll use the F word for Tavares. This is the Mary. Kevin Fiala over 2.5 shots on goal. Hit 7 of his last 10. Had 12 attempts last game with 4 shots on goal against Vancouver. Vancouver aren't exactly the leakiest team in the league. As pointed out on our last show on Wednesday, before that game, Franco discovered that he is sitting at 199 career goals, and that means he can potentially get that tonight because he did not score against Vancouver, even though he clearly wanted to. Had 9 and 12 shot attempts those last 2 games. He did score against Vegas 2 games ago, so you can kind of see that uptick. I love it. Yeah. I know Dallas isn't the best target, but they've been pretty leaky lately. He also has hit in 8 of his last 12 against Dallas. Don't forget, this guy grew up in the Central. He's an ex-Nashville Predator, if you remember way back when, and then went to Minnesota before getting moved for Brock Faber in a first.
Yes, that was the trade.
When the Kings couldn't be patient with their rebuild, and they cannot wait for the Kings to just be wretched for maybe a decade. It's going to be like one of my favorite periods of life.
Wait.
Just preying on their downfall.
Yep.
Mason Marchment over 1.5 shots on goal. You're getting that. I think I grabbed it around minus 135, minus 140 last night. So he's coming off a performance where he had 0 shots on goal. He's done this twice before, and then he's rebounded, covering that line in both of his games after that. Against the Kings, he's hit in 5 of his last 8 games. And here's the real selling point: his home and away splits. At home, he's covered in 89.5% of games. On the road, that number drops to 42.9%. At minus 135, implied probability is around 57%, and he's covering at home in nearly 90%. Decent history against the Kings too, which are pretty good against shots. So this is just a purely numbers backed play of he's rebounded before coming off 0 goals. The home and away splits line up, and he's been able to hit against this team who historically hasn't allowed a ton of shots. So give me that one. Love that play.
Yeah. If we make a parlay, I want that in it.
Yep.
Also, real quickly, I know this is a little off topic, but I do want to just discuss how bad Vancouver was last night. Oh, hey, Tyson. How you doing, bud? They were up, 2-0 against the Ducks and then lost 5-2.
I loved having Ducks money line plus 130. That was fantastic.
Yeah, I grabbed it. I only got it plus 110, but that was a nice, fun little.
Sorry, Tyson. I see Jamie Benn getting brought up in the chat for an assist. I have one thing to just kind of pause you there. He is sitting at 398 goals. He's scored 2 goals in his last 3 games. Now, this is not the matchup to target for him. He needs 2 more goals to get to that milestone. But, sorry, he has 2 goals in his last 4. My mistake. Anyway, this is not necessarily the matchup to target for him to get 2. But if you want to get a little saucy, you can sprinkle his goal prop tonight and maybe get a little bit on his 2 just in case. But
even his points plus 125, and don't forget he's playing with Wyatt Johnston. I think he's still on the top power play unit, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm torn on this game, right? Like the initial thought is this is an under, right? Like just you look at these 2 teams, and you're like, oh yeah, under all day, under. But like, there have been some games that have gone over with these 2, so like I have a little bit of pause there. I believe their last game was 5-4. It was a game back in early February. Went to a shootout, so just something to consider there. So maybe we get some fireworks. Who knows?
Yeah, the Stars team total is hitting 8 of their last 10 at that 2.5 mark. So I don't necessarily hate that too. And LA's home and away splits are crazy as well. So they're much worse on the road this season. So I don't know what you're getting that at though. That's the only question. Stars team total 2.5 minus 165.
Earlier today, I saw you could do the MGM fun thing where you can grab their over 3 at minus 110. I just don't know if it gets there on MGM. So you get the push. But I think if I'm going to do that, I would rather just take Stars money line at minus 130. So personally for me, I grabbed the draw here. I feel like this is going to be. I feel like this is going to be a back and forth type game. I definitely lean Stars. Like I just couldn't quite get there at minus 130. I feel like it's going to be a tight game. Like I don't see either team winning like 4-2 or 3-1. I think this is a 1-goal game in the third period. Let's put it that way, or tied. So I think getting the draw at plus 320 is pretty good on FanDuel. So that was what I took. I don't mind taking the Stars though at home minus 130. I feel like it's not a bad price. Have you guys looked at Jason Robertson shots?
Yeah, so we need to discuss this too. So hit in each of his last 7. He's hit in 5 of his last 8 against LA. Home and away splits. I think he's better on the road this season, if I'm correct. At home, he's hitting 46.4% of games. On the road, he's hitting 53.3% of games. For me, when looking at Robertson, I guess the only concern is, but we talked about this pre-show, right? Of does his 7-game streak worry you at all?
So, so just to let everybody know what we're talking about. That the idea that like a guy's hit his shots 5 games or 6 games or 7 games or whatever in a row, like that doesn't impact the player at all, right? So like, yeah, we're looking at these charts and we're like, oh, this guy's hit, whatever, like he's gonna hit again. There's no like logic or no reason why they should hit again. Now, my argument for Robertson is he's been scoring. Since coming back from Four Nations, he has 4 goals in 3 games. So I will give you that argument the other way, where he's feeling it right now. He's playing with a little bit of juice, a little bit of fire under his ass because he didn't get selected to the team. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're seeing it from Clayton Keller. I mean, how fantastic did he look last night?
5 points.
Cole Caulfield had an overtime goal last night. So like the Tages look great since the break. These guys that got snubbed clearly are playing with a little bit of extra juice right now. And like in this, sports betting world, we need to try to find any kind of angle or any kind of thing to like add to our capping and reasoning. I would much rather have that as my reason than just like, oh, this guy's hit 5 straight games. Now, obviously with Robertson, this is just a bonus. He's shooting a ton, 12 shot attempts against Columbus, 8 the game prior against the Islanders. So, yeah, I mean, you're giving me 2.5 at minus 125. I get it. The Kings are good against shots and overall good, team defensively. But, again, we have Stars on home ice. Kings aren't as good on the road. So, I think it's a great price, and I'm going to grab that and his goal.
Also, don't forget, he had 2 weeks off. This is more like a three-game streak again.
Yeah, like you can't even count the shit before. And honestly, like Robertson didn't look great to start the season. Like he like if you guys remember, he had the injury in camp, and then like they weren't sure if he was going to start the season. He looked like crap to start the season. A lot of people were like Stars fans were bashing him, saying he not the same and stuff like that. I think that break might have kind of given him a little bit of extra rest and recovery as well.
Yeah,
I'm going to disagree with you guys here. I'm off Robertson tonight.
Okay.
His last game against Columbus, he had 7 shots on goal and 12 shot attempts. Double-digit shot attempts have usually meant that he's missed in his following game. He did this against Colorado, where he had 6 shots on goal, 13 attempts, missed his next game against Detroit. That had 5 shots on goal on 10 attempts against the Rangers, missed his next game against Philly. Those are all this year. He did it again, too, at the end of last year. 3 shots on goal on 10 attempts, missed his last game. Double-digit shot attempts have usually meant that he's not shooting as much the next game and has missed consistently. So whatever you want to look into patterns or whatever, I'm staying off him tonight. Whenever you see a guy that kind of has those crazy shot attempt numbers, I don't necessarily love backing him in the next game. So I'm off.
So you're saying tonight. He's tired. He's tired is what you're saying. His wrists are feeling sore.
Yeah. Yeah. And personally, I just don't love this matchup against LA. I get he's hit in the past, but it's not necessarily a team that I think they're allowed the second least shots on goal this year. So I'm off Robertson tonight. I don't like him at all. So
it's fine. We can agree to disagree. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll have the J-Rob bet tonight. I'll take his under, and you can take the over, and we'll see who comes out victorious.
Right. Speaking of which, the Robertson brothers have scored together in back-to-back games, and they both play tonight.
Oh, are you going to do your Robertson brothers parlay? I thought that was only when they played against each other.
They never cash when they play against each other. Only one of them does. Only Nick scores when they play against each other. But given Jason's form and Nick's form, like I said, that line's been the productive one for the Leafs. I might do a little sprinkle on the Robertson squared.
OV is an anomaly. He's not counted in those Jason Robertson trends because OV can put up 20 shot attempts one night and then have 21 the next day. He is whatever he's on, or it's a different breed for him. So I'm not too concerned.
How many games do we have left to for the rest of the season?
Like
20-ish?
Yeah,
around there. Yeah.
A lot of teams have played 60 games. So yeah,
I don't think there's any reason not to take Ovi the next 20 games.
Well, it depends on what happens to the price. If we're starting to move,
if he's minus 140 or minus 150, I'm just saying if
that is sticks around minus one,
just bet it, like take my money every single game.
Yep.
If you miss one here or there, like whatever, man, like you're gonna come out on top. He's possessed right now. It's
insane. Wild. I wonder why.
All right.
No.
A milestone coming up?
I don't know. I haven't looked into this.
No, I haven't seen anything about it. So maybe I'll have to do a deep dive into that.
Maybe
all right, last game. Could be, right? His brand deal with Bauer is expiring.
No, he's got another year, so no idea.
Oh, all right. Huh.
Yeah.
All right. That's an off-air research.
Day.
Yeah, man, we'll table that one. All right, last game of the night. Minnesota plus 270, Colorado minus 340. Franco, no team should be minus 400, 350 in this league. Is this a Minnesota spot for you? Come on. Here we go. Yep.
Hold on.
Yep.
Wow, that moved a lot.
Yeah, it moved a ton.
Shit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's just draw this scenario out. Okay. So
all right.
I took Minnesota last night, okay, against Betsky's boys. Minnesota has a 20-8, I guess now, record on the road. They've been a dominant road team. They've tended to win games when they're plus money. They're a team you don't want to bet when they're minus money, but when they've been plus money, especially a nice number like that, they have been able to cash. So they are now 21-11 on the road. Colorado at home is 17-12, so not like the best home record. They're not like a Tampa or Florida that just dominates on home ice. So, my initial instinct, especially given what we saw last night, was that Minnesota kind of mailed it in after, the start of that game last night. They started Fleury instead of Gustafsson. Like I get Gustafsson hasn't been great this year, but they saved him for this game, right? Were they looking ahead a little bit with this being, a bigger game overall against a stronger team? So maybe they were keeping something. This team has been good, like despite the injuries, despite all the losses. Yep. So you can maybe make the argument like, oh, it's finally catching up to them. They're finally starting to feel it. But like every time we've thought that, or anybody's thought that, they've come back and won games. So
annoyingly so.
Yeah. To be honest. I mean, like it doesn't make sense.
No,
it doesn't make sense. Yeah. I look at this. First instinct is Colorado should win this game, but I just have a feeling that this is that type of game, right, where you don't want to be back in Colorado here. Let's just put it that way. Now, logically, they played an altitude last night. They're playing altitude again on a back-to-back. I don't see them withstanding this game for a full, 3 periods. So if anything, I think you take Minnesota in the first period, or you take their first period team total over a half, which is a plus 100. That's kind of been like a thing that we've been seeing a little bit. Chicago's been cashing in a ton, just scoring in the first period when they're minus 400. San Jose as well has been a team to kind of like target in the first period only and just get in, get out, take your money and run. So that might be the way to do it. Maybe take a little sprinkle on Minnesota in some sort of way in the first, and then maybe even live bet Colorado at that point for them to kind of wear them down. I could see this game being like 1-0, 2-1 Minnesota in the first, and then it finishing like 5-3 Colorado. My main bet here is over 5.5 at minus 130 though. So sorry for going around in circles, but that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Any looks for you in this one, Betsky?
Well, we talked about it on Wednesday, and I'm going to ride it, just kind of like the Ovi shots, like Nishushkin. Just no reason not to.
I'm on as well.
You're not going to get at this price. Last year, he was minus 180 for 2.5. I don't know why he was plus money in the first game. I don't know why he's still minus 110, minus 120, depending on the book. This game, especially with Minnesota allowing as many shots as they are, I do think Minnesota will play a tighter game after getting just absolutely steamrolled by the Utah Mammoth last night. They lost 6-1 against them. And I think they only put up 17 shots. It's something they just got dummied.
They mailed it in, man. They mailed it in for
maybe. But I am a little concerned with the injuries too, though, because sometimes you can kind of play through it for a while, and then there's that breaking point. That breaking point of you don't have the most clutch player on your team anymore, and the third line didn't get it done. That breaking point of our top shutdown center can't cover Nathan McKinnon, so Marco Rossi has to. Like, it's one thing to be able to pull out a couple wins when you're not supposed to. It's a different thing to be able to like get through a grueling road trip and you just dropped one game 1-6.
Yeah.
So the too long didn't listen version of this is I think Colorado's going to win. I think this is going to be a tighter game than what we saw last night. I think there's, like Franco pointed out, I think there's a chance that Minnesota goes up early, which is probably the best case scenario for prop betting on this game, because that means you're going to get a hungry McKinnon, Nichushkin, and all the boys on the Avs side that you want to bet on. McKinnon, his history against Minnesota for his shots is truly wild.
Yep, that's one of my plays tonight. McKinnon
10
4
out
plus.
Of his, 10 out of his last 12. Double-digit shot attempt average through those 12 games.
That's insane. 10.1 average.
His 5+ shots in those 12 games is the exact same as his 4+. 10 out of 12.
Insane.
And he's finally starting to shoot more in general.
Yep.
He's had 8, 3, and 7 shots since he's been back from the break, with 8, 5, and 10 shot attempts in those games. Yeah, give me that.
Yep. McKinnon -140 all over that. The other angle too, Minnesota allows the 4th most shots on goal to defensemen. Makar is obviously a popular play tonight at that 3+ shots on goal mark. He's hitting 6 straight. Head-to-head, I think he's hit in 5 of his last 8. The issue with Makar is getting into his home and away splits. At home this season, he's hit at a 51.7% rate. Good. On the road, that number jumps up to 64.5. So I pivoted. He's also -180, -170 range for that 3+. So I went a different direction. I went with Taves. 1.5 shots on goal. Doesn't have the consistency numbers that Makar does as of late, but he has hit in 2 of his last 3 games since the break. Head-to-head, he's hit in 4 of his last 5 against Minnesota. And the home and away splits are there for me. At home, he's hit in 65.4% of his games. On the road, he is hit in 53.3. So I'm on him for 1.5, -145. Last night, FanDuel had his line at -168 for the 2+. So when DraftKings posted that at -145, I jumped all over that. So him and McKinnon, I'm both on tonight. I like the Makar play, but there is some concern with the price and his home and away split. So that's why I went a different direction. But that's who I have for this game. Any other plays from you guys?
Matt Boldy on FanDuel is -146 for a point. I think that's pretty interesting. He has 4 points since the break in 3 games. His shot attempts are through the roof as well. 8, since the break, 9, 8, and 10 are his attempts. He might be another target. I mean, so I don't know how much of that game you guys watched between Colorado and the Devils. That first game home for the Avs, but there were a ton of defensive breakdowns by the Avs. So the Mackenzie Blackwood just kind of stood on his head, and that's what he's done historically against that Devils team. So I could see a situation here where we get some shots from the Wild side too. So I don't want to completely write them off, especially off of what he said, Betsky, a 17 shot performance. Even last night against Utah, he had 4.
Yeah.
So I think you're getting a little bit of value on Boldy at plus money for 3.5 shots. So just another kind of angle to look at, maybe his shots and his points. I mean, maybe you do his 3 shots and a point, and you'll probably get a nice number there as well for a parlay.
Yeah,
So
maybe
Trevor,
line mate Vinny Hinostroza will get on the scoreboard.
Sabres legend.
It's pretty gross.
Zona
Trevor
legend.
Moore shots on goal. I wanted to talk about this briefly. He's gone under in 15 of his last 20 games. He's on a 2-game streak right now where he's at 4 and 8 in both of those. He hasn't had a streak this season where he's covered in 3 straight. Doesn't have great history against Dallas, and like we said before, they're a pretty stingy team for shots. So I'm off. I'm not considering Trevor Moore for shots on goal tonight.
Look at his away splits, man. This year, he used to be an away dog.
I know.
He's hit 1 of 10,
5% away on the road,
20% on the road, last 20,
6 of 25 this year.
I mean, this is a guy that used to be. I mean, like he was plus money on the road for 3 shots, and you just click the button every single night.
Yeah, no,
man.
I think he used to be in the top 6, and now he's on the third line with Denault.
Yeah,
Vogel. Yeah, but
I guess that's like their shutdown line. That sucks, though, man. I used to like that guy.
All right. Parlay for tonight before we wrap up here.
Marchment 2, McKinnon 4.
Franco? Do we have to put one in the first game then, or are we just kind of leaving that out?
Absolutely not. I'd rather win.
Yep.
I mean, the Rangers bleed shots. It's just, who do you trust on the Leafs?
McKinnon 4, Marchment 2.
And I'd see a comment. No, we're not doing tomorrow's games just because these are about to start in like 15 and trying to get some stuff out. So
maybe just a point prop somewhere.
All right.
You said who two? Who are we doing? McKinnon and who?
Marchment and McKinnon.
Okay.
That's plus 189. Stick with those 2 for the night if you wanted.
I mean, do we just add like Fiala 3?
Or
you guys have it in too much straight? Or even Val at 3, like, I think is a fantastic play. I have him straight, but like I don't know. Or do we do like, what about Boldy 3?
Yeah, somebody's got to shoot, and they should be coming out livid after last night, right?
Yeah,
screaming Fiala.
I'm fine.
Fiala is scoring tonight, guys.
There's a DK boost. Don't forget promo code THPN if you're not already on DK for a goal scorer boost, and I am going to put that for Fiala. He is plus 125. Get that 50% on boost, and you're at 293.
So
that's a lot of head cheese if that catches.
Eating good this week. Good.
Brain food, if you will.
All right, so what are we doing for the third leg? McKinnon, Marchment,
and Boldy 3.
Matt Boldy for 3.
I feel like Minnesota has to shoot instead of going Val and going too heavy on Colorado.
I'd agree.
Matt Boldy at 3, McKinnon at 4. All right, so Marchment at 2, Boldy at 3, McKinnon at 4, plus 332 on DraftKings. That is our parlay for the night.
Like it.
I'm just like, we're not going to touch on the games tomorrow, but we'll all have our graphics and plays out for tomorrow. So just be sure you're following all of us. The main expected bets for account will post that as well. So if you're looking for everything kind of in a concise format, be sure to check out that. Anything else for you guys?
I will say something for that game. I haven't capped it yet, but Capitals at minus 110 at home. Tampa's on the road. They're not as good on the road. I get Vasilevsky's been fantastic, and Tampa has looked awesome since the break. But getting the Capitals at minus 110 at home feels like a really nice price. I wouldn't be touching that Nashville game at all. And I think you go with OV shots automatically in that game as well. So there you go. There's a little early play for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to today's stream. We appreciate everyone for listening. If you aren't following us on social media, be sure to do so. Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're trying to grow that as well. Once more, thanks for everyone. Use promo code THPN on DraftKings. New customers can get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. And have a great weekend. Let's win some bets. See ya.